There is a word we hand out as a compliment. A man hears the diagnosis, and his face does not move, and someone says, afterward, that he took it like a Stoic. By Stoic, we mean sealed. Nothing in, nothing out. But the school that word comes from held its classes on an open porch at the edge of the Athenian market, and the men who taught there wrote some of the most emotionally exact prose that survives from the ancient world. Seneca on grief. Marcus Aurelius on waking up discouraged. Suppression is the one thing the texts almost never ask for. So this is what the school actually teaches. 7 ideas that carry most of the weight. Read slowly, with every passage on screen so you can check me. The name is an address. Around 300 years before Christ, a merchant named Zeno lost his cargo in a shipwreck, washed up in Athens, and eventually began teaching at the Stoa Poikile, the painted porch. A colonnade anyone could walk under. No academy walls, no entry exam. Philosophy conducted in public, about things that happened to everyone. The school he founded ran for 5 centuries, and the 3 writers we still read, a slave, a politician, and an emperor, all come from the very end of it. But the doctrine held its shape the whole way down, and it starts with a sorting exercise. Teaching 1. First, sort everything into 2 piles. Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command. That is the first sentence of the Enchiridion, the little handbook of Epictetus, and the placement is the point. Before any advice about anger or grief or death, there is an inventory. Look how short the first list is. Your judgments, your aims, your wants, your refusals, everything else, including your own body, including what people say about you, sits in the second pile. But notice what the sorting is for. It is not resignation, it is triage. Every hour spent managing the second pile was taken from the only pile where effort actually lands. Teaching 2. The thing is never what reaches you. Men are disturbed, not by things, but by the principles and notions which they form concerning things. Death, for instance, is not terrible, else it would have appeared so to Socrates. This is the engine room of the whole system. Between an event and your suffering over it, the Stoics insert a third thing, the account you give of the event. The insult arrives as sound. Somewhere between the ear and the wound, a sentence gets written. He diminished me. And the sentence, not the sound, is what hurts. The argument here is a single witness. If death itself were terrible, it would have terrified Socrates. It did not. Therefore, the terror is not in the thing. It travels with the opinion. And opinions, unlike events, are in the first pile. Teaching 3. Only one thing is actually good. For there is but a single good, namely, that which is honorable. In all those other things of which the general opinion approves, you will find no truth or certainty. Here is the claim that separates Stoicism from self-help. Health, money, reputation, even a long life. The school files all of it under a deliberate word: indifference. Preferred, worth pursuing, but not good in themselves, because every one of them can be held by a bad man and lost by a good one. The only thing that cannot be is character in use, what Seneca calls the honorable. It sounds severe, but watch what it buys. If the only real good is how you act, then the only real loss is acting badly. And no one can inflict that on you from outside. 3 in, and it is worth stopping on who is saying all this. Epictetus, who who taught the sorting exercise, was born a slave and lame in a world that would never deal him the second pile in his favor. Seneca wrote about indifference to wealth while being one of the richest men in Rome, and knew exactly how that looked. Marcus Aurelius held absolute power and wrote himself nightly reminders not to enjoy it. A slave, a courtier, an emperor. The doctrine survived the extremes of fortune in both directions. That is the strongest evidence the school ever produced. 4 more teachings. Teaching 4. Feelings are verdicts, and verdicts can be reopened. Take away thy opinion, and then there is taken away the complaint, I have been harmed. Take away the complaint, I have been harmed, and the harm is taken away. Read it as instructions, because that is the grammar. An emperor telling himself what to do twice in a private notebook. And this is where the no-feelings caricature gets the school exactly backwards. The Stoics did not deny the first flinch, the jolt, the heat in the face. They called those the first movements and considered them as involuntary as weather. What they contested is the step where the flinch is ratified into a grievance. The feeling is real. The verdict underneath it, I have been harmed, is a judgment. And judgments can be reopened, which means so can the feeling that rests on one. Teaching 5. You were built for the people who irritate you. We are made for cooperation, like feet, like hands, like eyelids, like the rows of the upper and lower teeth. To act against one another then is contrary to nature. This comes from the entry where Marcus rehearses, in advance, all the meddling and ingratitude he expects to meet by nightfall, and then refuses to draw the obvious conclusion. The obvious conclusion is withdrawal. His conclusion is anatomy. 2 rows of teeth do not compete. They only work at all by closing toward each other. So the popular image of the Stoic as a self-contained fortress is, at best, half the doctrine. The same books that teach you to guard your judgments insist that the judgment most worth guarding is the one about other people, that they are limbs of the same body, doing their jobs badly, the way you do yours. Teaching 6. The deadline is the instruction. Do not act as if thou wert going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over thee. While thou livest, while it is in thy power, be good. 3 sentences, and the middle one is the hinge. Death hangs over thee. Not as a horror, as a fact with a use. The Stoics kept death in view for the same reason a builder keeps a level on the wall. It is the one measure that stops self-deception about what matters. A grudge that will outlive neither party. An ambition that needs 30 hypothetical years. Held against the actual deadline, most of the second pile prices itself. And the last sentence turns the fact into a schedule. While it is in thy power. The window is now, and the task is not to feel ready. It is to be good. Teaching 7. It is practice, or it is nothing. Philosophy is no trick to catch the public. It is not devised for show. It is a matter, not of words, but of facts. It molds and constructs the soul. It orders our life, guides our conduct. Every school says something like this. The Stoics built the whole curriculum around it. Epictetus told his students that a sheep does not prove it has eaten by coughing up the grass for the shepherd. It digests and shows wool. That is why the surviving texts are not treatises. A pocket handbook. Letters to one worried friend. An emperor's notes to himself, written at night, never meant for us. Working documents, all of them. Because the school held that a doctrine you cannot use on a bad Tuesday is not yet philosophy. It is quotation. 7 teachings. Sort, What is yours from what is not. Find the opinion standing between you and the thing. Call nothing good except character in use. Reopen the verdicts your feelings rest on. Stay in the body you share with everyone else. Keep the deadline where you can see it. And practice or admit you are only collecting sentences. Notice what is not on the list. Nowhere do the texts ask you to feel less. They ask you to feel about the right things, at their true size, which is harder and better. Every passage is in the description, with its citation and its translator. If this was worth your quiet, stay a while. There is one idea here every day.